Right now, the Madison Teachers Union says a charter school needs to give back nearly $500,000 in taxpayer funds after closing its doors for 9th and 10th graders last week.
Plus, how a plane that took off from Middleton's Maury Airport ended up on a stretch of interstate in the Chicago suburbs today.
And how the Madison School District is hoping to make teaching summer school worth the while for its teachers. It's all ahead on News 3 Now at 10. And thanks for joining us tonight. The Madison Teachers Union is calling on One City Schools to return nearly $500,000 to the Madison School District.
This after the charter school announced last week it was shutting down its 9th and 10th grade classes because of staffing shortages. Starting January 23rd, students impacted will start classes in one of 6 schools within MMSD. Arman Rahman breaks it all down for us.
Eric and Charlotte, school funding is determined by enrollment numbers. That's counted on the 3rd Friday of every September and then the 2nd Friday of every January. The 51 students who suddenly have to transfer back into MMSD are at One City Schools until the 20th. If they don't enroll before Friday, MTI says that per pupil funding wouldn't go to the district. The president of the teachers unit at MTI, Michael Jones, says people should know about the money that could be shuffled around with the 9th and 10th grade students of One City Schools.
If other schools are taking public funds, taxpayer funds, away from the system and then just able to do whatever they want without any accountability, that deserves to be called into question.
Wisconsin schools get per pupil payments from the state. Jones doesn't like when independent charter schools get the per pupil payment for students in a district that opt to go there instead.
This is more of a symptom rather than the disease itself.
Last year's per pupil payment was roughly $9,200. For 51 students, that comes to about $500,000. Jones believes
there's no accountability. You don't have to, they do not have to account to the public where that money goes. We do.
A note here, we tried to get One City Schools' perspective. They didn't call us back. Founder and CEO Kaleem Kher told News 3 Now last week he decided to close grades 9 and 10 because low staffing couldn't keep up.
We were doubling up classes with staff and things, and we could see our staff was getting tired. We just knew we couldn't sustain that.
But Jones says those problems don't go away when the students come to MMSD.
Let's say they receive special ed services. There's no money for special ed services. So now things that they might need like therapy or additional supports or specific transportation. These things aren't done for free. They require money. They require investments and supports.
He says it's a broken education funding system and fears
in the end, the kids are the ones who hurt the most.
Madison Schools sent us a statement this afternoon saying in part, our focus is to ensure the families impacted by this decision have all the support and resources they need to ensure a smooth and welcoming experience. Stay tuned to News 3 Now as we continue asking questions about this story.
Armand, thank you. And we mentioned one of the major reasons One City Schools had to cancel its 9th and 10th grade programs is a staffing shortage. That's also one of the reasons the Madison School District is considering a substantial raise for any summer school teachers. We'll have more details on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Fitchburg police in an update today say they are looking for more information about a crash that took the life of a local middle school principal. Investigators are still looking to speak with anyone who may have witnessed the crash that killed 56-year-old Beth Steffen, the principal at Badger Ridge Middle School in Verona. It happened last Tuesday at 6:30 in the morning at South Saline Road, just north of Argus Lane. Witnesses are asked to call the Fitchburg Police Department. And in Middleton, police say the traffic lights at the intersection of University Avenue and Branch Street will likely be out for a significant period of time after a suspected DUI crash this morning. It was around 2 a.m. A 21-year-old man from New Glarus, they say, reportedly left the road and hit the traffic light control box, some trees, and a building as well. In a Facebook post, police say the lights will likely be out for an extended period of time, at least through the end of the week, due to supply chain issues.
And let's get a look at our first warn forecast now with Julian Seawright.
Well, it's a misty and a foggy night throughout much of southern Wisconsin. If you're going to be traveling tonight, make sure that you're taking it slow and using your low beams because visibility is very low. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at just how low it is. A half of a mile is all we're seeing here in Madison. In some areas, it's even lower, especially to the further northeast, which would be around the DeForest and the Sun Prairie areas here in Dane County. Now, around southern Wisconsin, many areas are still looking from 3 to about 2 miles in terms of visibility, with 2.5 for Janesville and about 7 for Platteville. Now, temperatures aren't too bad, though. We're into the upper 20s here in Madison, 30 degrees for Janesville, and 28 for Platteville. And as we take a closer look into Dane County in itself, well, our friends to the north are actually, well, everywhere but Madison is dealing with the lower 30s or just at the freezing point with 32 degrees apiece from Sun Prairie to Cottage Grove. Now, moving on to what we're seeing, well, not a lot of anything. That's because of those foggy conditions, which is really starting to lower visibility, and we can't even see anything outside. Now, we're looking at cloud cover to stick around for us, but the fog in itself will carry into our morning as well. But we are watching for potentials of seeing a bit of some freezing drizzle translating into our early morning hours, so be mindful of some slick spots heading into your Wednesday morning commutes. We'll talk more about what else to expect for the rest of the week in just a few moments. Until then, back to you guys.
Teachers hesitant to work this summer may have a new incentive to do so as MMSD administrators explore new options for increasing pay.
Our McKenna Alexander breaks down this proposal and shares why local education leaders believe summer school is critical for community growth. McKenna?
Yeah, during Monday night's school board meeting, district administrators suggested increasing pay for teachers working summer school after last summer's severe staffing shortage resulted in hundreds of students having to be unenrolled. In 2021, summer school staff made $40 an hour, and last summer, staff made $28 an hour. The new recommendation for this summer is to bring back the $40 an hour wage. Local leaders with Madison Teachers Incorporated say that while they aren't ready to comment on this specific proposal, they do advocate for increased access to summer school.
We want to make sure that we're making things better for a better future, and that means investing in our kids. And that's not just a September to June sort of commitment. That's a year-round commitment, even if school technically isn't in session for a certain number of students or staff.
District estimates put the proposed change cost at about $700,000, putting a total 6-week program cost at $3.4 million. So this would allow for 4,000 students to enroll in summer school courses. Now, a vote on this increased wage could come as early as later this month.
New video tonight, a small plane making an emergency landing alongside a suburban stretch of highway in Illinois. The plane landed upright just off the shoulder of the southbound lanes of I-355 in Bolingbrook, west of Chicago. It took off from Middleton and was heading to Downers Grove, Illinois. According to state police, the airplane did not hit any vehicles or fixed objects, and the pilot was uninjured. Out west, 2 people were rescued by LA firefighters after a sinkhole opened on the road. 2 cars fell into that sinkhole overnight. First, a car drove into the opening, then a pickup truck. 2 people in the truck were able to get out safely on their own. 2 others were trapped. Crews used ropes and ladders over the hole to rescue those inside, who are expected to be okay.
The Justice Department is overseeing a review of a batch of documents marked classified that were found in an office space that President Biden used before he was elected president. A source tells CBS News the documents did not contain any nuclear secrets, but their exact nature and classification level are unclear. During the North American Leaders Summit today, President Biden was asked about those documents.
I don't know what's in the documents. My lawyers have not suggested I ask what documents they were. We're cooperating fully with the review, and which I hope will be finished soon.
The roughly 10 documents were discovered in early November while the president's personal lawyers were packing up that office. The White House counsel's office says it immediately reported those documents to the National Archives, which took possession of them the following day. The former CFO of the Trump Organization has been sentenced to 5 months in prison for a decades-long tax fraud scheme. Alan Weisselberg turned state's witness and pled guilty to 15 counts last August. That deal with prosecutors might have saved him years in prison. He also has to pay $2 million in back taxes.
It was day 2 of a large-scale nursing strike in New York City after contract agreements were not reached. More than 7,000 nurses from Mount Sinai and Montefiore hospitals walked off the job yesterday, saying they need more staffing to keep their patients safe. Contract negotiations are scheduled to resume tomorrow morning. Americans could soon be paying out of pocket for the COVID-19 vaccine and boosters. Vaccine maker Moderna said when the government contracts end, it is considering charging between $110 and $130 per dose. That is according to the Wall Street Journal. In an interview, Moderna's chief executive officer said, quote, "Pricing is consistent with the value of the vaccine." Another vaccine maker, Pfizer, said it's also looking at charging about the same price per dose. 2 caregivers on each side of the Wisconsin-Illinois border are coming out of retirement, compelled by the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade and joining forces for abortion access.
The goal is to help people in our area get treatment where it is still legal. They opened a new clinic in Rockford just last week. Tahalil Mohadeen made the drive there this morning and has the story.
Leadership at the Rockford Family Clinic started planning for this facility as soon as they realized Wisconsinites were at risk of losing abortion access. Now, with their doors officially open, they say the calls for help are pouring in. For Meg Larkin, being a caregiver her whole life comes naturally.
What gets to me the most is that there are people in need.
So when she was asked by a former colleague to step in as center administrator for a new medical abortion clinic in Rockford, Illinois,
I said, sign me up.
The request came from Madison-based Dr. Dennis Christensen.
I felt compelled, because I've been doing this for the past 50 years, to try and ease the burden on the patients that I had been serving.
Since June, Christensen had been working to open a place that would provide pill-based abortions to people in Wisconsin, even paying out of pocket to make it happen. Why make that commitment?
Well, it seemed the quickest way to get it done.
Last Friday, Rockford Family Planning saw its first patient, but getting to that point meant dealing with some community pushback.
Basically, Illinois has become a death destination for people from other states.
For months, members of the Rockford Family Initiative, an anti-abortion group, have been protesting the clinic in part because of its location.
It's just not fair to the people who live in this residential neighborhood to have this right next door to them.
But for clinic leaders, that hasn't been an issue. They say the community support is there, and that when it comes to providing abortion access, opposition just comes with the territory.
There is something extremely fulfilling in being able to do something that is so meaningful, even if it does mean you work in the trenches.
In Rockford, Illinois, Tahlil Mohadeen, News 3 Now.
Construction is underway for a second clinic that will add surgical abortions to Rockford Family Planning's care options. Administrators say if all goes well, they expect it to open in April. Still ahead at 10, more than $1 billion up for grabs tonight. We'll have the winning Mega Millions numbers.
Plus, it's not your average farm. We'll see what makes this local cricket farm so special.
After a crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. At Gruber Law Offices, we have the knowledge and experience to make sure you're protected. And we're here to help whenever you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Habitat Restore is full of great finds at great prices for a great cause. With a unique inventory of high-quality, low-cost goods, you can save money and feel good about your purchase. Shop Restore Dane County today.
How do you become America's #1? Start by taking care of families for over 75 years. Earn the trust of 32 NFL teams. Be there for America's toughest. And help when help is needed. America's #1 isn't a status earned overnight. It's earned in every wash and re-earned every day. Tide, America's #1 detergent.
Get up to 80% off list prices during our huge inventory reduction sale at Slumberland Furniture. $20 million worth of furniture and mattresses must go. Lowest prices around on TV consoles, recliners, bar stools, sofas, mattresses, and lots more. Get the deal of a lifetime on clearance, one-of-a-kinds, scratch and dents, and more. Stores are packed with merchandise that must go. Up to 80% off at the huge inventory reduction sale on now at Slumberland Furniture.
Now get an Escape, Edge, or Explorer SUV with 0% APR financing for 36 months only at your Wisconsin and UP Ford dealers.
Not attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. If you or a loved one were stationed at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987 and were later diagnosed with cancer, Parkinson's disease, or other serious health effects, call right now.
Call 1-800-336-0524.
Every single day, we help families that have been tragically impacted in truck crashes. And you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. Truck crash? Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
This story is incredible. A couple who set aside their Christmas to cater to others. The Robinsons fed and housed dozens on the Buffalo Blizzard. I love moments like this.
On the next Jennifer Hudson Show at 3.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Welcome back. Despite uncertainties about the economy, the ultra-wealthy are still spending money. Luxury car brands, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Lamborghini, all report record sales last year. Rolls-Royce delivered more than 6,000 vehicles for the first time in its 100-year history. New information tonight, federal officials say they are acting on thousands of complaints related to Southwest Airlines' holiday travel meltdown.
That includes complaints the airline isn't making good on its pledge to issue refunds. The Department of Transportation has sent every complaint directly to Southwest, and the agency is giving the airline 60 days to respond. Next tonight, get out your Mega Millions tickets. Tonight's drawing is the third largest in the game's history with a jackpot of $1.1 billion. Here are your numbers: 7, 13, 14, 15, 18, and Mega Ball of 9. The jackpot has not been won since October. More local news now. Kevin Bachhuber is not your average Midwest farmer. He doesn't grow corn and he doesn't have any livestock. Instead, he's a cricket farmer. Today, he told us he discovered culinary crickets on a trip to Thailand in 2006, and he was hooked. In 2013, a report from the United Nations jump-started his cricket career.
UN released a 206-page report saying, hey, maybe people should eat bugs. So one thing led to another. We ended up moving to Ohio, where we had Big Cricket Farms, which was my first cricket farm. And it later became the U.S.'s first FDA-inspected human food-grade insect farm.
Well, he's become a leader in global insect agriculture consulting. He's even given a TED Talk on it and now returned to his home state to start a new cricket farm.
Next tonight, finally, some good news for Earth's ozone layer. Researchers say it's on track to recover completely within the next 2 decades as ozone-depleting chemicals have been phased out around the world. That's according to a new UN-backed assessment. The ozone layer of the atmosphere protects our planet from harmful ultraviolet rays. It is another dreary day of heavy rain, mudslides, and misery across large sections of California. Storms there blamed for at least 15 deaths since last week. Plows cleared mud on the 101 freeway. This is north of Los Angeles this morning. Heavy rain up and down the coast has caused massive flooding, those mudslides, and widespread power outages.
And Julian Seawright joins us now with a look at our forecast.
Well, it is a foggy mess for us. At least we're not dealing with all that rain. But man, we can't see anything. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Why can't we see anything? Well, fog has really placed itself into the upper Midwest. Now, a lot of this is honestly results from what's happening from our friends into the western coast. As that system, we are looking at the warmth starting to flow its way in from that subtropical jet, which has also brought in a bit of some fog as we've had some upper layer warmth throughout much of our atmosphere. Now, taking a look at our surface map in itself, it's quite a bit of a mess. We have these stalled out fronts and low pressure systems, which once again have brought in a bit of some precipitation that's starting to roll its way in. Now, we're looking at some freezing rain and even some light flurries and snow that's starting to roll its way into the western parts of southern Wisconsin. Now, just west of Madison, this is for our Iowa County, Grant, and even close to Rock and Greene counties, we are looking at some of that snow starting to roll its way in. Now, not a lot of it is touching the ground, but we are still looking at some flakes. And right behind it, where we are seeing temperatures that are a little bit warmer, especially on aloft, we are looking at some of that freezing rain starting to roll its way in and expecting it to really impact areas just north of I-94 and for I-39. So when you're waking up for tomorrow morning, be prepared for not only just foggy conditions, but potentially some glazing on the roads that could create some slick spots. Now, as we head into the overnights, it's still going to be cloudy. We are looking for for a bit of those bands of freezing rain to start to sweep its way through. So even for us in Dane County and areas to the east, as we Jefferson County and closer towards Waukesha, we are going to be looking at some of that rain once again, creating a bit of some slick spots for our early morning. But the good news is the cloudy conditions will give us a bit of a break and leave in some sunshine once we get into our Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday evening is going to be rather quiet, temperatures into the lower 30s, but we're looking for our daytime high to be into the lower 40s. So another mild day in southern Wisconsin. But as we head into the overnights, well, we do have some opportunities for a little bit of developments of some flurries here or there, but it's still just going to be a weak system that flows its way into southern Wisconsin. So as we head into Thursday morning, we're looking at more of some light breezes and cloudy conditions and temperatures that are near the freezing point. Transitioning into our Thursday afternoon, still dealing with some cloudy conditions. Temperatures are going to be within the lower 30s, goes into the mid 30s once we get to around the 3 o'clock hour. But overall, our mildest day is going to be for tomorrow. Thursday is going to be a bit cooler, and heading into Friday, we're going to be back rebounding into temperatures that'll be closer towards the mid 30s and upper 30s for some areas. Now, in terms of snowfall, we're looking at trace amounts. Some of it won't even be measurable. That's not really going to be the biggest concern. If anything, it will be the freezing rain that could create some slip spots, and on top of it, some bit of some rainfall just north of Dane County itself. Could also be a bit of some glazing in terms of ice development overnight into our early Thursday morning. So that's one thing to watch for. But temperatures in themselves tonight, not going to be overly cold, but they will be below freezing, which is why we're going to start to see some of that development of ice. But our temperatures at least will be warming up to around 42 degrees by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon. Outside of that, we are looking for pretty smooth sailing, but temperatures themselves are also still going to be very warm for this time of year once we get into Sunday, around 41 degrees. And then for MLK Day, we're watching for another system to bring in some mixes at night, and then we have more activity potentially heading into next week.
And coming up in sports, no Tyler Wall for Wisconsin, and that seemed to be a problem down the stretch for the Badgers. The final 4 minutes that cost them the win is next on News 3 Now.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Here at Menards, we've got all your automotive needs covered. From tools and accessories to maintenance and everything in between. Wiper blades? Copy that. Motor oil? Done. A hard-working engine deserves the strong protection of Quaker State Full Synthetic Motor Oil. The best of the Quaker State. It's engineered to give more power, more wear protection, more engine life, and more performance. Get a 5-quart jug for $16.99 when you fit it in the bag. Now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Wisconsin. It's easy to take for granted how we warm up. But what if you couldn't warm up so easily? For many, it's a reality they can't ignore. Working families, elderly, disabled, and veterans struggling to keep their heat and power on in the dangerous cold of winter. If you or someone you know needs a hand up, our energy, water, and emergency rental assistance providers are working together to keep you safe in your home. No one deserves to suffer when we can help each other.
With my low energy, I can't even blow up this celebratory balloon.
At Planet Fitness, there's hope. Now through January 12th, join Planet Fitness for $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and turn your low energy into big fitness energy in 2023 in a clean and spacious, judgment-free zone with tons of equipment to get you energized.
Low E? Not for me.
Simply join through the free PF app for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, January 12th.
As the chief buffet officer here at Pizza Ranch, it's my job to make sure we have the best buffet in the US of A.
Impeccable.
New record! Wobbler. I'm on it. I don't do it for the glory. I do it for the buffet. More icing.
Pizza Ranch, everyone's favorite buffet.
Creamy. Brain freeze! Carl, why?
Helpful hints for you from Meineke. It's important to monitor the tread level and tire pressure of your car's tires. Over or underinflated tires can affect your fuel economy and the life expectancy of your tires. And worn out tires can also result in longer stop distances, plus poor performance in snowy or icy conditions. Stop into Meineke and get your tires inspected today. And with 4 locations in the Madison area, there's always a Meineke nearby. Set up your appointment at Meineke.com today.
I thought you two were going to Ho Chunk Gaming Madison this afternoon.
No, we couldn't decide what game to play.
That's the great thing about Ho Chunk Gaming Madison. There is a myriad of games with a myriad of themes so you can find your perfect fit. Some machines offer free games, multiple spins, a bonus within a bonus, and multipliers. So many different ways to play means so many different ways to win. Find your perfect game at Ho Chunk Gaming Madison.
Ho Chunk Gaming Madison.
Without their leading scorer, Wisconsin went into Illinois and came back with a loss. Now the challenge for Greg Gard, don't let that one loss turn into two against Michigan State and just get Tyler Wall healthy. Well, still no timetable on his return. That's not good. Also not good, Badgers trailed by 2 at the break, but then second half Steve came alive. Crowell working hard down low for 2 of his team-high 19. He scored 15 alone in the second half. Wisconsin led by as many as 5. Michigan State battles back. Joey Hauser splashes home the triple to give the Spartans the lead. Chucky Hepburn answers back for Bucky. The step back, part of his 14-point performance. That bucket ties the game up at 63. But then A.J. Hogard would close the door. That's your game winner. Wisconsin loses their second straight game, 69-65, in one they know they probably should have won.
We should have been able to close that out, and that's on all of us. It's not one or two people. All of us did little things down the stretch that didn't help us.
You know, the 4 minutes at the start of the game and the 4 minutes at the end, you know, and as I told the team, unfortunately it's 40 minutes, not 32. So we've got to find a way to continue to be a more complete team at the start and at the end.
Olena West and La Follette hosting Big 8 leading Verona, and West got off to a fast start. The Lancer walking bucket drops home the floater to give La Follette a 2-point lead, but then Verona would amp up the pressure. Future Hawkeye Taylor Stremlow picks the pocket and then completes the dine and dash at the other end. Part of a 7-0 Wildcat run, Stremlow finished with 15. Then later, it's Abby Ruppnow dialing one up from deep. Verona moves the 10-0 in conference play with a 90-43 win. It's been a frustrating start to the second half of the season for the Badger women's hockey team. Wisconsin is currently on a 3-game losing streak where in 2 of those losses, they were shut out. And it doesn't get any easier. Up next is a trip to take on #1 ranked Ohio State. So to try to snap out of this funk, Mark Johnson keeping it simple at practice this week for his squad.
For our younger players, it's a good learning process. For our older players, especially this weekend, you know, they know the personnel. They've played there before for 3-4 years, you know, and they have to be ready to play Friday early on in that game to, you know, to give us a chance to get through that wildfire, as I call it, you know, that's going to happen.
Luke Fickell has added another 4-star QB to his quarterback room with Braden Locke committing to Wisconsin. Locke transferred in from Mississippi State after not playing in his freshman season. But he wasn't the only one. Freshman All-American kicker Nathaniel Vakos also heading to Madison. Last season at Ohio, he connected on 19 of 23 field goals. And they also signed a former Cincinnati receiver, Will Pauling. And former Badger running back Isaac Garendo will play his final season of college football at Louisville. Garendo's last year at Wisconsin was his best, rushing for 385 yards and 5 touchdowns while averaging 6 yards per carry. We're back after this.
At Lawton Cates, your life counts is more than just a slogan. It's connecting you with top medical specialists after a serious injury. It's holding the insurance company responsible for your lost wages and your hospital bills. It's a guarantee that we'll be with you every step of the way and won't accept anything less than the maximum payment you deserve. We'll speak with you for free, and there's no fee until we get results for you. Your life counts. Lawton Cates. Call us today.
Only a wise and lucky few understand the amazing benefits of real sauna bathing. Leisure Concepts has Finnish and infrared saunas that set up in a flash and will get you through winter happy and healthy. Now watch closely to see my favorite part of sauna bathing. Get to Leisure Concepts on the Beltline at the Park Street exit.
Lake Ridge may be a new name, but it isn't a new bank. It's one built on over a century of community commitment. One equipped with all the knowledge and resources of 145 collective years of experience. Monona Bank and State Bank of Cross Plains are coming together as one. As Lake Ridge Bank, we're doing more together for you.
Madison Magazine's Winter Restaurant Week is here. Participating restaurants will provide 3-course dinners starting at $30. Some restaurants will offer a lunch menu for $20. Featuring Wine and More by E&J Gallo Winery. Check out our guide to Restaurant Week online to see which restaurants are offering takeout as well as dine-in. Don't miss Madison Magazine's Winter Restaurant Week 2023. Brought to you by the presenting sponsor, Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund, and supporting sponsor, Bergstrom Madison Chevrolet and Cadillac.
We asked people to give their honest feedback on how wrinkles around their eye area and under-eye puffiness looked after trying Tint and Tighten for the first time.
So with foundation, normally it just kind of cover up and conceal things, but with Tint and Tighten, it actually changes the way the skin looks. The lines are actually gone, so you don't get any of that buildup within them and the creases that you normally would see when you wear foundation.
Tint and Tighten shrinks under-eye puffiness, smooths out wrinkles and fine lines around the eye area, and provides tinted coverage to hide dark circles and skin imperfections, making you look fresh and younger. And since Tint and Tighten works in 10 minutes and lasts up to 8 hours, you can look your best without getting injections or fillers. Get beautiful, lightweight, tinted coverage, plus that smoother, younger, wrinkle-free look from years past in 10 minutes. A look that will make you feel beautiful and confident. Try it this new year for only $19.95, plus get free shipping and handling. Visit tintandtighten.com or call the number on your screen.
Join me in the 608 weekdays on News 3 Now this morning.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Hopefully tomorrow's a better day to be able to see things out there.
Yeah, well, at least not to start. That's not going to be one thing to be looking forward to. But the good news is we will start to see a little bit more sunshine in the afternoon, and temperatures in the 40s. Can't beat that in the second week of January. We are watching for chances of seeing some precipitation from Wednesday night to our Thursday morning. Other than that, smooth sailing heading into the weekend. But next week, we are looking for another round of potential rain and maybe even some mixes.
All right, Julian, thank you, and thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10.
Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.